Today we're going to be talking about the right breed for you.
Hi guys!
How you guys doing? So there's going to be a couple main things that we're going to go over in this video. We're going to touch on them. Alright guys, so we're going to start with size of the dog.
This is really very important. The size of the dog kind of correlates with the breed of the dog in some instances. Because you could have a small dog that has tons of energy.
Yes.
That needs a huge place to roam.
Yep.
For example, they have a lot of Jack Russell Terriers. Mm-hmm. You have a small dog that cannot be an apartment dog.
Absolutely.
We have the horse farm from when it was the old building at the vet hospital.
Okay.
The horse farm that we used to work by, they had tons of Jack Russells. They had the run of the whole horse farm. These dogs never got tired, and I'm talking hundreds of acres.
I can attest to this. My mother had a Jack Russell, and this dog was off the wall.
Like, bouncing off the walls. You just cannot keep certain small dogs in an apartment, even though people think small dogs equate to apartment dogs. Doesn't work that way. And then you have like an Irish Wolfhound or a Newfoundland or something like that, where you think of a huge dog can't equate to an apartment dog. And those dogs would be an ideal apartment dog. You know, I just think that some people think size has to be a certain, thing.
What are the, I guess, proper term sizes? Because we were discussing this the other day. What are the proper sizes for dogs? I know you guys are probably wondering because there's like two extra sizes that I didn't think existed. Like, I thought there was like small, medium, large dogs, and she's telling me that there's like, there's like extra large, giant breeds. So what are the technical sizes for dogs if you're looking into categories? And if you could just give us an idea of either the breed to correlate to each size of the dog, mm-hmm. and about the weight to correlate to each size of the dog.
There's actually even a couple more than we talked about, because we talked about small, medium, large, extra large, and giant breeds.
Yes.
Okay. There was one more that we didn't talk about that day, because there's actually teacup.
Okay, so there's going to be teacup guys?
Yeah, teacup goes, it's kind of like an extra small, if you will. If you try and buy like a shirt or a harness or something for a small, or for a teacup dog, and you get a small,
okay,
it would drown a teacup dog.
Gotcha. So like those would be like dogs like I know teacup Yorkies, for example, mm-hmm. would be a good one for the teacup breed. And what would be the poundage on something to be considered teacup?
A true teacup is 5 pounds or less. That is a true teacup dog.
Okay.
Some variety, like I'm saying AKC registerable. There's some places like UKC, like other versions of,
which is going to be the American Kennel Club or the, what is that, United Kennel Club?
Yeah.
For the United Kingdom, guys.
Yeah. Some other kennel clubs will take under 10 pounds for a teacup breed, but for as far as the American Kennel Club goes, it's under 5 pounds for teacup.
Okay, so teacup's going to be under 5 pounds, and the next breed size is going to be
a small, and that is basically anything up to like 20 pounds is considered a small dog.
Okay, and the next?
Medium would be anything up to about 30 pounds would be a small, 35 pounds would be a small dog.
Okay, see, though, that extended past what I thought. I didn't think 35 pounds would still be considered a small dog. I thought that would probably be getting into the medium breed.
Right. Anything up to about, I would say, we're going into medium size now.
Okay.
Anything up to about 40 pounds is medium, because you're cutting it off close there. About from between 40 to 60 pounds is considered like a larger dog.
Okay.
But not a large dog. Do you know what I mean? If you're talking a medium breed dog, like we're talking, say a border collie.
Okay.
Okay. That's actually like a medium breed dog.
Okay.
Okay. But border collies tend to get fat because they don't get exercise.
Yeah, so we're just going with standard. We're just going weight numbers here, guys. Standard, not
Yes.
okay, you guys got a pit bull and he's like 120 pounds, but he's 120 overweight. We're talking correct specifications for weight here, like tapered waist, rib cage not showing but having a tapered waist, so correct weight for the breed.
Exactly.
So that's going to be, what'd you say, 40 to 60 pounds is going to be medium.
Yes.
So now next is going to be large. And
up to 75 pounds is a large breed.
Large is going to be 60 to 75 pounds.
Yep.
And then next is
the
giant.
extra large.
Next is extra large.
Extra large is 75 to 120. Now that's a huge span.
Yes, it is. 75 120 is going to be extra large.
Extra
correct?
large.
Okay.
And now giant breed is 120 to anything else.
Okay, so yeah, that's a big leap there. I mean, if you got a dog that's much over that, I mean, you got a person. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But so that's the size. Make sure you guys are picking the right size for you. And what I mean by that is, do you have small children? You know what I mean? It's all like, is this going to be too big? Are you in an apartment? Because it's all like, if the size of this dog is going to be too large in an apartment where you can't maneuver, you know what I mean? That's not going to be too good. So if you have a bigger property, bigger house, and you want to get a small dog, obviously a small dog's going to work for an apartment. Bigger house, that's not going to matter as much. Now if you have a smaller house, smaller rooms, like I even know if you have bigger houses but they were built a long time ago, you might have smaller rooms. So still having a large breed dog, even though you have a bigger house, might not be the most maneuverable. And a house like we have a 3-bedroom house, attic, basement, but we had Newfoundlands and they're huge. So the thing is, they wouldn't even come upstairs. They wouldn't try to. The girl would come up and she was
140.
She was 140 pounds. She would come up, but she still took up a lot of space in the room because you got to account for beds and everything. Now our boy, who was about 185, wouldn't even attempt to come up. He didn't care. So just be aware of that. Even if you have a large house, having a giant breed dog is still, that's a lot, no matter what space you have, guys.
Especially because they still like to be under your feet and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
They don't know they're giant sometimes, so.
Absolutely. Now, next is going to be the activity level of the dog. And the activity level of your dog sometimes depends on the activity level of you.
Absolutely.
So, the activity level of your dog, I would say, would be something to consider as if you're looking for a dog to go hiking with. You could get something like, I guess, a German Shepherd, which is high energy. You could get something like a Collie, how we were talking about, Australian Shepherd. So any of like the sight hounds, hunting dogs, something like that you want to work that has high energy, it's okay if you're an active person. Like if you want a dog to go running with, don't get a lazy dog, because a Mastiff's not going to go running with you. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's not going to keep up.
Absolutely.
But the great thing is, if you want to get a pit bull or something like that, sometimes you could get a hybrid right there. So a pit bull will run with you, but they can be lazy at times depending on the type that you get. But your activity is going to matter, and then the activity level of the dog is going to matter. So even if you're not an active person, you can still have an active dog if you have a lot of property. But realize, no matter what you have, the property's not usually going to be enough for the dog. It's going to be tired out.
Absolutely.
So just plan accordingly for your activity level, and for the dog's activity level. Next, we're going to have how often are you home. The thing is, I think that's universal.
Absolutely.
How often are you home? You should consider that when you're getting any dog, period. If you're not home enough, I would say just don't get a dog. You know what I mean? Get a cat. Honestly, I'm not a cat person personally, but cats are a lot better. They could go...
Facts.
Yeah, it's all like... cats could go a lot longer without seeing people. They don't really even care if they see you half the time. You just change the litter box, give them some food, they're good to go. Now, dogs need a little bit more attention. You have to be home at least enough to let them out. They're gonna want affection because they're just like you know what I mean? They're gonna want to be around people at some point. You're gonna need somebody around you at some point. So they're gonna need that love. They're gonna want you to play with them a little bit. So take that to account with how much you're gonna be home. If you're just starting a new job, if you're just having a new baby, plan out how much time you're gonna have for that dog. And the breed doesn't matter on that at all. That's just how much time you personally have. Next, I'm going to say the trainability of a dog.
This is a big one.
Which is big because she talked about a Jack Russell before. Are they capable of being trained? Yes. Is it hard? Absolutely.
Here is the thing, and this is something that you all need to let it soak in. The smarter the breed of dog, the harder they are to train, because they are going to challenge you every step of the way. They want to appease you, but only to a certain extent. They're always going to want to do their own thing because they're dogs. I mean, they want you to love them. They want you to, be a part of their pack and all that kind of stuff. But dogs like Jack Russells and other herding dogs and other working dogs, they're smart dogs, but their instinct is to be out and running and kind of on their own. But because when they're herding things, that's a lonely job. That's kind of like something they kind of do on their own. So when it's a one-man job, they kind of like, they just, I don't want to say they're antisocial creatures. They're not, but they're smart and they don't want you to like get in their business, if you kind of know what I mean by that. They just want you to love them. And they want to do their own thing. They just don't think they need you telling them what to do. They already know what to do. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to train certain dogs.
Absolutely. And like you just said, with those herding dogs, what I've noticed is the more high energy of a dog you have, the more you have to work it before you're going to be able to train it, which means you're going to have to go out and run it first, toss a ball with it. You're going to have to get that dog tired before you're going to be able to get it to focus, because since it has so much energy, it's going to be all over the place. So with those herding dogs specifically, they want to run, they want to go back and forth. They're not trying to focus on whatever it is that you're doing. So you're going to have to get them tired enough to where their brain is going to focus on what you're trying to teach them. So that's going to be trainability. Then you have other dogs that I guess are super easy to train. I know poodles are pretty eager to please their owners, so they're fairly easy to train.
Well, and the thing is this, I mean, there's 2 dog breeds in the world that will do just about anything to appease their owners. Poodles are one, and pit bulls are actually number 2. There's actually been times where at the vet hospital, I've almost seen poodles starve themselves to death because they've gotten into the habit with the owner where the owners didn't even realize they were hand feeding their poodles. And the poodles have gotten so used to that hand feeding and that connection with their owner where they didn't want to do anything else but be hand fed by the owner. So they just stopped eating, and the owner didn't realize why, and that was why. Like, they just get such a huge connection. And the same thing with pit bulls. People don't realize, they blame the dog for getting into these pit fights and whatnot, but literally pit bulls will do anything to please their owner. Now, so that makes them trainable, right? Super trainable. Unless you get a dog like Ruger. Our Ruger is a wonderful pit bull. Super, as you guys all know, I call him boy genius. Super, super smart dog. That's a little bit of his downfall along with his dominance. You put all of that together, he listens to him great because he's more dominant than him. You put me into the mix and I'm mommy, and I have a downfall with that with him. He knows how to pull on my heartstrings, and I know how to be dominant with my girl. I don't have a problem with that. But Ruger, just because he's boy genius, he knows how to pull on them heartstrings with me, and it's a problem for him and I. I mean, he's 8 years old, and it's been a problem the entire 8 years with him and I. So it's just, there's certain breeds that also know how smart they are. They tap into that. So you really got to pay attention to each and every dog, even with each breed that you get, each individual animal that you get from each breed. They can be really, really smart.
Yeah, you more to mainly use a breed as a guideline and characteristic for a dog. Obviously, then you're going to have to take into the dog's own personality when picking that specific dog, because a breed is just a characteristic and a guideline to go by. Every dog's going to have its own personality, just like every person's going to have its own personality. You know what I mean? Like, the breed might be a fairly lazy breed, but all of them aren't going to be necessarily lazy. One might be high strung, one might have social anxiety, one might have separation anxiety, but once again, that's still going to come on you to be the balanced individual to take care of that dog and take care of those problems specifically.
Yes, very much so.
And our next thing is going to be personality of the dog and breed, which, well, I just kind of touched on that. That's a fairly quick one, and that's going to be different. I suggest when you're getting these animals, you just look it up online, look up what their personalities are, the characteristics, how energetic the dog is, if it's a lazy dog, if it needs to be worked, if it's a herding dog, if it's a sight hound, and take into account what you're going to use it for.
With all this stuff, I mean, the bottom line with everything is research, research, research.
Absolutely.
Books, magazines, Google. You don't usually hear us say that very much, but research is going to be a huge thing for each and every one of you when you are deciding this.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. There's a billion reputable sites out there to just get characteristics of a dog, like I said, while you're looking for them. And then once you do that, evaluate the puppy or grown-up dog that you're getting for your specific needs and your specific feel on the dog, how it acts towards you. And our next thing is going to be yard/house size. Well, we kind of touched on that one a little bit already, I would say. Yeah. Like, some of these are going to run into them because it's all like, they just flow into each other so much, so they're kind of going to be touched on a little bit.
Let's talk about yard, though, a little bit. Let's say this, though. When you get a high-strung breed, the yard is not going to be enough exercise for a high-strung breed.
Yep.
You could have a yard that's, you know, a double yard, a triple yard.
Yeah, you can have acreage, and it's not really gonna matter. Like, you can have a farm, and it's just, it doesn't matter.
People think that it's just size that matters. That's funny. But anyway, in this instance, size does not matter. Exercise isn't just about them moving their legs, it's about them moving their mind as well. They need to see new things, they need to smell new smells, they need to exercise every aspect of their physiology, their psyche, their everything. So you have to not just put into play, oh, my dog is going to get enough exercise when I, open the door and stick him outside in his fenced-in yard, no matter how big that fenced-in yard is.
Absolutely, because they're not going to utilize that properly, guys. The thing is, just because it's there doesn't mean they're going to utilize it properly. That's just like, I could give you a gym membership. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to necessarily make the most progress as you could because you don't know how to utilize the machines. You know what I mean? So the dog doesn't know how to utilize that properly, so it's just going to run in circles till it's a little bit tired or whatever, and that's it. It's the same thing every day for it, so it's going to be tired of running in circles. So you're going to have to go out there, even if you want to, something simple. If you got acreage, if you have a quad or bike, you can ride on that with them, throw a ball for them, you know what I mean? Run back and forth. I tend to go hiking with my dog specific. Exactly.
Get different toys to use on your property with them if you want to do that. He takes our dogs out hiking with him.
Which we're going to touch on in one of the other things to come. So.
Alrighty. But yeah, your yard, it's just not enough.